Today's Tuesday Talks is what are the pros and cons of ARCs, so let's do this. Hi everybody, it's Lydia here. As always, the Tuesday Talks discussion group is linked in the description below. Go check it out. Today's Tuesday Talks revolves around the pros and cons of ARCs. By that I mean the advanced reading copies that publishers send out to reviewers for an honest review. Honestly, I think there are great arguments on either side of the aisle for this discussion. One of the reasons why I really love ARCs is that they allow independently published books to get more marketing. Because authors who independently publish their books, they can't afford the mass marketing campaigns that the big publishing houses can, and as a result ARCs are really their main source of marketing. Like, if you send out a review copy of your independently published book and someone gives you a great review, they'll pass it on to their friend, or they'll write a review about it, or they'll make a booktube video about it and tell the world about it, and suddenly everyone finds out about this independently published book, which otherwise they may not have done. So for that reason I think ARCs are great. However, on the other hand, there is a big con as far as ARCs are concerned in terms of overhype. Oh my god, I hate overhyped books so much, and I feel like this is becoming a really big problem, and I feel like the last few months in particular there have been a number of really overhyped books which have turned out to be terrible. And what's going on there? You have to really ask the question, what is going on there? I'm going to mention Red Queen here. I know a lot of people love that book, but equally it has had, it's fair to say, reasonably mixed reviews. There are a lot of people who were entirely underwhelmed by it, and I think it is because there were so many ARCs released prior to the release of that book and people were raving about it left, right and centre, and it kind of just meant that by the time that it came out we'd all been so hyped up about it and getting more and more excited about it that by the time it came out a lot of us were underwhelmed by it. And that is one problem that ARCs are definitely bringing to the table, because prior to like the mass release of ARCs that you have these days, you didn't used to have that like pre-release excitement. Now that it is really quite easy to get hold of ARCs, overhype is just so commonplace in the book community, and I really feel like it's such a shame, and it really bugs me as well. Like, I know how difficult it is when you get sent a book, particularly if it's an independent, but if you just get sent a book by an author and if you've had like a personal communication with them or something, it's really difficult if you don't like a book to give a bad review. Like, I understand that, but that doesn't mean you have to rave about it and give it a 5-star review and just go completely crazy over it. That said, despite all that, I love ARCs. I'm not gonna lie, I love receiving free books in advance of release. It's awesome. From a reviewer's perspective, ARCs are awesome. But there are definite downsides to it, and I acknowledge that overhype is just crazy and it's getting really bad. So that is, yeah, there are pros and cons on both sides of the aisle, but personally I like them. I'm not gonna lie, I like ARCs. Just before I finish, while we're on this topic, I will say that Samantha over at Thoughts on Tomes did a great video the other day about the buying and selling of ARCs, because obviously there are loads of book cons going on at the moment. There was BEA in the States and there's YALC coming up here in the next few weeks, and so there are loads of ARCs just flying around all over the place at the moment, and she was basically just talking about how loads of them ended up on eBay and how that's just, you know, we don't want that to happen, you know. So if you get a book at a con and you don't want to read it, give it to a friend, fine, but don't sell it, because that's just, it's just, you know, it's just no. But anyway, Samantha did a whole lot more eloquent video on it on her channel, and I will link that in the description below. Go check it out if you haven't already. So that's it for me today. I will see you again soon, but until then, bye!